from me in my morning, I'm sending out a good morning, whatever time it is. No idea what I'm going to share right now, but I have a G harmonica in my hand. But let's warm up and be on the lookout for another potential guest artist live stream later today, right around the hours of 1:30 Central or so. G harmonica. These are just some of the things I do when I'm not thinking about it and just warming up. All this is on a G harmonica right now. I'm going to switch keys here in a second, possibly. I would say no matter what level you're at, just see what you can do. See what you can find from what I'm playing. Good morning if you're tuning in live. One thing that's occurring to me now is like taking the time to like switch keys. So let's do that. A harmonica now. And make sure you touch every note or every hole at least. So find something. This is very loose, so it's harder for me to talk about or explain, but I often just pick up the harmonica and I guess I'm thinking in positions. These are actually, that first harmonica was just a Marine Band Deluxe. This one, the next one I'm picking up is from one of my very good friends and amazing harmonica masters on the planet. Also happens to be one of the most notorious customizers, Joe Falisco, who built me this harmonica. So what I was saying is I think of position work, and sometimes I don't. Like right there, I could be thinking first or third because of the way that the phrasing can go in either. And what I want to do is try to just move and accomplish touching every hole, breathing through and playing every hole, moving up towards 10. But if I dial in a more like that's loose, so I'm thinking second and pieces of first and third, these other positions. But if you dial in like your position and the scale you want to feed off of, it becomes a little more clear on how to move around. So that's third position movement, moving all the way from the bottom to the top. Maybe I was thinking more pentatonic second position. I'd play scale notes probably and something like that. And just move, loosely move around. Oh, and that reminds me of the fifth position right there with the two blow. Maybe I'm thinking whatever it is. But make sure you got something that moves you from the bottom all the way to the top of the harmonica and back down. Octaves. Just shoving a whole bunch of ideas at you randomly at the top of my head. And don't forget, I mentioned it at the beginning of the stream, but later today, potentially around 1:30 Central-ish, maybe a little earlier, I don't know yet. Very, very dear friend of mine and amazing, talented harmonica player and future upcoming guest artist, Joe Falisco, I'm hoping will be able to join. We'll see. We're not 100% sure yet. Be on the lookout for that. Make a note. Octaves. So pick a pattern or a scale and follow it in your mind. This is still on the A harp. And think of a technique. This is obviously, I'm thinking octaves. I'm going to use single notes around them, but I'm just going to try to come up with some looping ideas, some patterns that I can repeat to really solidify the technique itself. I used to give out this one a lot. Because it's a really nice one that forces you to go across the octaves and splits and kind of move back and forth and get that workout right there. Especially on the high end where you've got to now create a wider embouchure and open mouth to get those draw octaves. Bending. Dipping into half step bends. From 6 draw to 1 draw. We could do the same on 10 to 7. Remember that holes like 5 draw and 7 blow don't really have but a microtonal bend, so you don't need to go far. Draw, bend, draw. Half steps. Great breath control practice in addition to the bending. If you dig this kind of stuff, I have an entire thing. I know I say this every time, but I've already created the content. I don't even plan on saying these things, but it reminds me that I have them. Sometimes I think of it because I put them on sale, but I've got a whole thing on bending exercises called the Bending Clinic. You can find on Harmonica 123. I've got pattern recognition, which is a cool class based on pattern practice. And we all need something. Like I said this the other day when we were talking, when Hank and I were talking on the live stream, which is I do most of my practicing up here, but it doesn't mean that I do not play my harmonica a lot. I'm still playing a ridiculous amount, which shows you how much time I spend in my head thinking about harmonica. So I see these movements and these patterns, which is what allows me to retain them and follow them as I'm playing. So when I'm playing a lick, I just see the pattern that it makes. I can see that draw, blow from 6 to 7. Back down to a blow note on the 6. So if you're not practicing that, take time to practice trying to really see what it is, your movements. It might help you, it might not, but for me, it made a huge difference when I started realizing that that's what I was doing. So these are some things I do when I'm just warming up. And I do a lot of chug stuff too. Let's before we move to a C harp. Little things like that, or maybe I'm working on the more that cotton train I've shared. It's very similar to that, actually. C harmonica. So notice I'm switching keys. It's a subtle clue or a tip that you might want to do the same thing. Dang it. Looking for something I can't find right now, but that's okay. C harmonica. Whoa. So every time you pick up a different key, you should have a kind of a slightly a slight adjustment maybe with the relationship to the airflow that's happening through the instrument. So as soon as I picked up that C compared to the G and the A, it's very clear to me that I can just kind of back off with my breath and just settle into a very sweet spot where those reeds are responding like this. Thanks for the likes. I see some likes on my video. I appreciate you guys giving the video a like. Helps circulate the video and get it around to some more folks. Another thing you can do is just maybe take like a lick and see how many different ways you can play the lick. Change the groove in your head a little bit. I mean, I'm just making this up, right? Let's see what the lick should be though here. Let's find a good one. That's a cool lick. That's second position. Let me play that slow. But how many ways can you play it? And you can get away from it. You know, I'm getting a little lost. You can get away from the lick, but the closer you are to the same notes and in the same order at first, it forces you to try to be very creative with how you're going to present that note. Like I didn't even think to do like a... like a slow version where you really take time to kind of let the notes ring out versus like a moving one or chopping it up. Here's a simpler idea. Six notes. Less than six notes, but we're playing 6 notes, but some are the same notes, so we're not really having to play too many unique notes here. I spent a lot of time on holes 2 and 3 because those holes have so many notes that I really like to just kind of hang out on those areas and see what I can do that I'm not doing. Again, I think about it by melody or position that I want to kind of target, but even if it's just very loose, just spending time on holes 2 and 3 and really engaging in all of the available notes, including that note that a lot of you maybe are scared to go to, or maybe you go to it and don't mean to go to it, but the 3 bent all the way down. Take some time and really try to sustain these bends. I get bored, so I start bringing in like the hand wah. You know, you can get creative with the other layering and other technique. Go the other direction. Think of ideas that maybe you will use that note for. For example, Sonny Boy Williamson, number 1. He was known for taking that on a couple songs on the 5 chord. The exact lick isn't coming in my head right now, but it doesn't matter. It's a 5 chord kind of moving thing. Like a third position sounding idea, but we're playing it on the 5 chord of second. Same thing. So that's a little warm-up talk today. Good morning to you if you're just tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for giving the video a like. Thanks for subscribing and following these videos. I promise not to bombard you in February with a live stream every single day. That's just not, that's not realistic, but maybe more often than I have been doing in previous years. That is possible. So thanks for being a channel member, Ramblin' Harp and Chris, who are here live. Thank you so much for checking out the membership. Just put up a bunch of membership stuff, so check that out. There's a couple brand new stuff that I just did this morning if you missed it. And hello to everybody else that's out there tuning in. Last thing is I came across this video the other day on my channel. Hey, thanks, Basebone. This thing that I did where I was like, I'm gonna loop a blues lick for 5 minutes, or I don't even know how long I went, but it was like one of those. Who knows what I played? Now I don't know what I played. Something like that. That's it, pretty much. It's a looping idea because it brings us right back to an area that could be the beginning or the end, right? The 5 draw. Back up to that 5 draw and you just kind of move back into it. So that's an example of a more advanced thing. Sure, ear train that if you want, but something you could be doing right now is just taking a short riff, could be a triplet, and work on those repeating ideas. I feel like a lot of people are missing the boat on using repetition in their improvisation, whether it's in the form of a triplet or not, just some kind of repetition of coming back to and repeating an idea. You know, something that really forces the listener to follow, to feel what you're doing. And sometimes it's good for you to do that because it keeps you focused and centered on what you're doing when you're improvising versus what's the next lick I'm going to play. So those are a few ideas off the top of my head this morning. Thanks again for tuning in. And I will hopefully see you later today at around 12:30 Mountain, 1:30 Central. Could be closer to 1 Central. I don't know. Just set subscribe, hit the little notification, and click all on the bell notification, and you'll be able to find out when I do that. I'll leave you on the G harp with whatever comes into my brain, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'll see y'all soon.